Here's a quick demo on for the service awards for choosing a card. So if we widen the screen here, I'm going to start out. I just logged in. Go ahead and go to shop. Got 500 points here. Go down to the cards. From the cards, it has a list of all the cards. Has a place that I can filter it out, clear the filter, sort it. So it's pretty interactive. It's got a pager down here that's been added. It's responsive. Up to 3. And once you click on one, main thing it wants to know now is what type of card it is, if there's choices, and also the value. We need to do a little bit of styling cleanup on this after we're done, but functionally all this seems to be going good. So as you click on this, it shows you how many points you have available. This up here is not being updated right now, so that's something else that's going to be done after this. I've already had some stuff in my cart, so that's why it's showing that. So if I go in and add 25, it tells you how many points it's going to be and how many available points that you have. So as I change this around, we can see that go up. If I go too high, it's going to show that I don't have enough points here, so all that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and redeem that. This is a pop-up just like the items. The value of the card, how many points it's going to take. We're going to continue shopping. Go back to first page. One of these cards has, here it is. The card type. If there's more than one card type, it could be digital, traditional, or one of the Imagine cards. You can pick one of these. Again, the value, same thing. And all these cards, you know, in the back end's all set up for these different things. They're flagged what type of cards that are available and the actual value. So this is all needs to dynamically work within this. As far as calculating how many points, it's based on the point value as far as dollar value. So if you want a $25 card, it goes to the program to figure out how many points it's going to be for that. So we'll redeem that and continue shopping. So it's basically choose a card, you know, once you have the card, add it to your cart if you have enough points, and then, you know, see where you are from there. We'll go to the card here next on the next video. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the card choices, and again, it's just 2 pages. Pick a card and then add it to your cart, set the value and stuff. So it's points order, choose card, and points order card once you have it. So we'll look at the code. Under the order controller, points order controller, which is managing all of the different ordering for all the choices. All these different choices in here. And what we're looking at now is points order choose a card form. If you notice, you know, all it does is it's going to create a form to go ahead and pick, allow you to pick the card from those choices. So these choices are all based on the program and how it's set up for the points ordering, and it's also configurable even if they're allowed to use cards or not. And if they weren't, it wouldn't even show up on the choices. So under the choose card, that creates a form here. So the form is actually going to control all aspects of this page here. So everything above here is automatically an include that's used in all of our pages. Everything below that's controlled by this form. So from the search to sort by, you know, verbiage, headings, stuff like that. Obviously, all this, what shows up here, how its responsive behavior is, and, you know, interaction, and all the CSS and AJAX and stuff like that needs to happen for all that. So a couple interesting things on that is this form expects to know the order that we're filling out, the temporary order that's going to for the cart, a model for the cards that are available, which is again this list here. The active object is one that they click on. So what's nice, as soon as we click on one here, this form automatically knows it. And just like all of our forms, we have an ID for it, and then we have what the URL is, and that's used by the superclass. From here, we're able to get a list of all of the cards. We're using a hierarchy method that's going to basically, from the employee, go up and figure out what location or what program has it set up. The other thing with the cards is they need to be filtered. Our search filters it, but they're also filtered on if they're active or not and if they have an image. So we have a hub of all the cards, and then we have a hub card, which is going to be the list that's actually going to be active within the page. That's what gets filtered out. And initially we're going to say go ahead and use them all. And then what do we have going on here? Within this page we also have some other areas where we need a custom object to manage that for us, the actual model part of it. So we're creating this points order choose card, which is pretty basic. It's going to have a couple pieces of information, the search text and the sort by. So here's where the search information data gets put in, and the sort by is the choices here. So its job is to maintain those pieces of data for this form. So this form is going to create one of those objects, put it into a hub, make it the active object, just like we do all of our stuff. So now it's bindable on that form. Next thing it does is it goes ahead and adds all the OAJSP components that control the different elements on there. And the last thing it will do is it will update the cards. Again, we have a hub of cards, which is basically always going to reflect the selection, the show to user. And there's a method here that will automatically look at the search criteria. When it's done, actually look to see if it's sorted or not. Go ahead and do the sort, and then return the list. So whenever there's any interaction with these components, AJAX is being used. So if we type in P here, hit enter, and it automatically sorts them out, filters them out based on name of the card, or the actual description within it. This little X actually sets it back, and so there's no more filter on the search criteria. So that's pretty straightforward on this page. The update cards, just one thing to keep in mind, it's kind of interesting, is it's using an atomic integer to keep track of when it gets refreshed. So if the user's really clicking around and it's sorting a lot of cards and filtering and stuff like that, it can go ahead, and if it's in the process of filtering and the user clicks something else to refilter it, it can go ahead and abandon it and start fresh with that. So that's how all that's set up. Once a card is picked, let's pick one that has choices here. So your choices here kind of change. So on the order itself, on the award card order, so we're actually filling out an order, and part of the order can have many of these card orders. Within the card order, we need to know the type, which in this case is a name value list. So since it's set up for that, there we go. Since it's set up for a name value list, which is usually a hub of selections and stuff like that, well, it depends on the card. So the card itself, instead of being the 3 that are available, might only show 2 of them, like this one here, traditional or imagine. There's no digital. So we can't just show a drop-down list of the 3 choices. The system needs to look at the card, and if we look at the card vendor, here's a card itself. The card has some flags, what it supports: digital, traditional, and celebrate cards. So those determine what's actually going to be in the list. So what we're able to do in the source, if I go over to there's your choose, here's our form for that, and so here's a list of all of the different types. And again, that goes right back to the model, the list of choices. That's going to be in that drop down. So when we order one, we want to know which one it is. But again, based on the card might not support those, so we need to filter out all of these to only the ones that are supported from whatever card they selected. So whenever the user selects a different card, this list needs to be updated. So to make all that happen, would take some tricky programming with different places checking mostly for if the card changes. So what we're able to do with the hubs is we're able to get all of those. We're creating another hub that basically is going to point to the list that's available for whatever the selected card. So what I'm doing here is I'm creating a filter off of the list of all of them that's going to populate our card type list hub, and it goes filter basically goes through, finds out what card is currently active. Again, because we have a hub here that shows all of them. Whenever we click one, that's the active object. So here we can actually get that hub by actually getting the active object, just like we do for all of our hubs and keeping track of stuff. And then we're actually checking to see if this card supports whatever type that we're looking for, filtering out right there. So this will automatically keep this hub of card types populated with whatever are available for the active card that was selected by the user. Then all we have to do is, again, whatever card has been selected, we know whenever that changes, we need to go ahead and update our filter. So all we have to do on our filter is to give it a dependent property, and it will automatically refilter it whenever that changes. So that's equivalent of whenever a new card is changed. The other thing that we want is whenever the user selects one of these, we want to go ahead and update what type of card they selected. So instead of us writing the code to have to find all that out, it's really nice if we could just link it to it. So what I did on this filter, when I set it up, we have all of them, and then we have the filtered list of them, hub. And I also told them to keep the same active object. So what's going to happen is whenever we selected one here, is it will make the card type active object, the one we selected, but I also told it to go ahead and make the all, find that same type in the card type all, and make it the active object. And then using that, I can actually link that on pause to our points order card. So again, back to the model, it could automatically fill out our award card order with the card type. So that's some nice benefit without us having to have any code someplace else that's actually checking for different interactions and stuff like that. It's all based on just setting up the hubs to do all that. Let's see. Just like all of our other forms, there's stuff that we're controlling on the form. Lots of areas here, really. Names up here. The card image, this information, if it's turned on and off. If there's only one selection, it doesn't need to ask them any. For the type, for the card values, that's dynamic, and that comes from a list of values supported by the card. Description, of course. Points for the card, we have it set up so this will automatically recalc. There's an Ajax. This component here is a button list. With a list of values. Whenever you select it, it was set up to use Ajax. Part of that will automatically trigger this to get updated. Your available points doesn't change. Again, this isn't updated yet. Won't change until you actually put it into your cart. So as soon as I put it in the cart, you notice that the points just went down, and I can go back and continue shopping. So that's it for this video.